Hello, fellow fools, and welcome to your timeless card reading today. My name is Bren, and I'm going to be guiding you through this experience today. Today's theme is the Pisces Lunar Eclipse because we are experiencing that at the time of the recording of this video. So hopefully these messages and insights can be helpful for you at this time, no matter when you're listening. So without further ado, let's get to it. We have a few cards that I already picked out here. I love using the Moonology deck by Yasmin Boland to just work with each of the lunations. I love what she has, to say for each different lunation. So I have 3 different cards here because we have the Pisces full moon right now. And so that is one part of what's going on in the sky. And the saying for that is balance, spirituality, and practicality. Then we also have the full moon eclipse card, and so that is saying conclusions are within reach. Okay. And then we have just the full moon, which that saying is surrender to the divine. So I felt called to pick all of these cards for this moment in time because I feel like this, anytime we're experiencing an eclipse energy, they happen like twice a year. So it's not like we're totally unfamiliar with eclipse energy, but it is a big time of big shifts, big realignments. I like to think of, eclipses as that moment of us getting back on karmic track. So again, no matter when you're listening to this reading, now is probably a reminder to you that whatever's happening in your immediate environment right now is probably due to a karmic realignment. A big theme with not only myself, but a lot of people, my clients or my friends, people in my life, what we're all going through is a lot about like relationship dynamics, like especially within the charity realm. Pisces and Virgo, that's the axis that we're working with here for this full moon, because currently is Virgo season and then the moon is in Pisces for the full moon in Pisces in Virgo season. So that axis is really about healing, Virgo about that like healing the body, whereas Pisces is about healing the soul. And so when we are in this mode of healing and wanting to serve people, that's a beautiful thing, right? It's beautiful and needed. We all are going to need help at some point in time. So us showing up for other people is awesome. And that being said, there's a big call right now to also take care of yourself and not to drain your resources, especially with people who are not really benefiting from your help at this time. So what that can mean is, maybe you're really helping out a friend a lot. They've been going through it, whatever. But you kind of realize at this point, like this person's always in crisis mode. Like, I'm okay with getting someone off their feet. Like if they need help, helping them get off their feet, whatever. But if they're constantly then falling down and needing you to pick them back up over and over again, that's when you need to have boundaries. So that's another thing that just happened recently. Saturn just, retrograded back into Pisces for the last time for this, this Saturn story. So we're revisiting lessons as well from the past, and Saturn's the planet of karma. So with the karmic cycles of the eclipses also happening in tandem with, this Pisces Saturn story, we're really learning how to have boundaries with our compassion. So if you are listening to this and feel maybe like, oh, well, I don't feel like I'm overgiving or whatever, I have news for you, babes. You might be asking for a little bit too much from people around you. And I'm going to be really direct because I think spirit, well, the energy I'm getting from spirit is like just fed up. It's like, at what point are you going to help yourself? And I think that's a lesson for all of us, whether we are the giver or the receiver at any one point, because we can be both roles at, any given time. But if we're like leaning towards one side or the other, it's just up to us to really have boundaries with like, am I taking too much? Am I like asking for too much from people who can't give that to me, or it's not reasonable for them to give that to me? Or am I over giving to certain people who could benefit from less of my help? Because that's another thing that us helpers have to remember, is that it's really nice for us to help people and to be compassionate, but also there comes a point where we're actually, with our help, we're actually enabling people rather than helping them. Because sometimes people really need to get, like, sometimes the only way you can learn a lesson is the hard way. And as much as like we want to protect our loved ones from learning things the hard way or whatever. I'm especially thinking of like a parent with their child, you know. You can't protect, you know, your loved ones forever. Like, we all are going to suffer at some point. We all are going to have a struggle. We all are going to go through some sort of trauma. Life is not easy, you know? So I think this is also a moment in our time to really be like being really real with our actual capacity, and notice when we are actually able to give and when we actually need to invest in ourselves for our own well-being. Because if we don't put on our oxygen mask on first, we can't help anyone else anyway. So we've got to really lean into self-care. I do want to draw more cards. I'm getting a lot of just intuitive insights already. So I definitely feel, you know, it is Pisces. I am a Pisces. I love my Pisces. But, you know, Pisces is very in tune with the emotional realm and the spiritual realm and things that are bigger than us, you know, endings. That's another really big thing about full moons in general, but also Pisces as a sign. It is the last sign of the zodiac. So with any ending can come a new beginning, but we have to tie up loose ends before we can actually have that rich beginning that we're all looking for. This whole year, next year, is a time of great astrological change. We're all shifting. We're all in like new eras. And, you know, when we're growing, we have growing pains, you know, especially if it's all fast. A lot of our growing has been really fast lately. And for those of us who have these growing pains and are growing fast, sometimes people who are not growing as fast as us naturally just get left behind. And so I'm encouraging you to have compassion for the people in your life and for the lessons that you learned from certain people, but also be ready to surrender and let go of relationships that just aren't hitting it anymore. It just seems like, you know, we're branching off into a new timeline, into a new chapter. And so the more that you invest in your old chapter, the old people in your life who are not giving you what your new path wants, the more you're going to be unhappy and unsatisfied and run into more issues than if you just embrace like, maybe I just need more space from certain people. And also when we say conclusions are within reach too, it's less of like, oh, how about you get rid of all of the people in your phone or in your life who are not serving you like at all, whatever. It's like, I don't want it to be so extreme either, because black and white thinking can be really dangerous. So I just encourage everyone listening to this message, now's a good time to just reevaluate. And instead of like cutting ties or like having harsh boundaries, just being more like, maybe we just need more space. Maybe we just need more time apart, because distance does make the heart grow fonder. So instead of burning a bridge, you might still want to have that bridge, but just cross it less frequently. You know what I mean? So do what you need to do to protect your energy at this time is a big message from Spirit. Okay, we're going to draw some cards from the Apparition deck. This is a deck that my friend Lily gifted me for the Pisces new moon this year, so 6 months ago. So this should have a lot of the energy of the new moon as well. We're getting 2 cards right now. Ooh, so we're starting with the 10 of Wands. It actually came in, boop, reversed. So we'll talk about the 10 of Wands reversed in a moment. And then we also have the 9 of Pentacles upright, which is actually a very popular card that a lot of my clients have been getting lately. So I'm assuming this is like a collective energy anyway. I mean, this is a collective reading, so let's talk about 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is often like it's like an ending of some kind. I mean, it's a 10. So let's talk about endings. It's just like, this is the grand finale, it seems like, in certain ways. You know, our eclipse story, we're still in the middle of it. We're not at the end of the eclipse story yet with the Pisces North Node and the Virgo South Node story that happens, you know, about 1.5, 2 years, you know? So we're not at the end of the entire storyline that this lesson is teaching us, but it really does seem that some things are really ending for good, and it can be a relief to you if you allow it. Again, we're talking about surrendering to the divine. Eclipses are often fated events. You've already used your free will, you know, in the last 6 months since the last eclipse to do what you're going to do. Now's the time to see what happens with that. You know, are you on track? Is Spirit going to take certain things away from you, certain relationships, certain jobs, or certain tasks, whatever, responsibilities? Are they going to take it away from you because you haven't been taking care of it enough or being real enough about it? You know, are you letting things slide too much, you know, because of one thing or another. Maybe you don't want conflict, you know. But this is also a card of, I mean, the 9 and 10 of wands, I should say, really remind me of each other in the sense of like resilience. It's a hard work. In order to get to the end of any cycle, it takes some sort of work, right? So this is a reminder, I feel like, especially with it being reversed, is that we at this time could really use inner reflection about how far we've come in regards to anything fire related, you know. And when we talk about the symbolism of fire, it's the things that light us up, the things that make us feel confident, the things that make us feel purposeful, the things that make us feel passionate, right? So there's been some sort of progress in your storyline where you're coming to an end, where you're kind of realizing like, hey, this thing is not offering me the passion that I need in order to feel fulfilled in my life. So I need to do something else. Or you might be like, oh, I worked really hard and like, I need to acknowledge how far I've worked because now I have this reward. Now this is the outcome. And now I'm seeing all my hard work kind of paying off, you know, at this time. So, I find this imagery really interesting too, because in this deck, there's like a figure on the phone crying, and then there's like 10 burning candles around them. And I find that so interesting because it's like on the phone, it's communication, the person's crying, it's like water with the wands, because usually wands to me is just like fire, you know, but it's like someone crying. It's an emotional thing. And I think that's something we need to consider as well, is that eclipses like are a really emotional time. And so maybe, again, if you're not listening to this during the eclipse, it's fine. You can still take the messages, but maybe now is just a really emotional time and you need to give yourself more grace to express that. Let it go somewhere, journal, take a bath, let it release. Maybe you do call a friend and cry and vent, you know, whatever you need right now to release these emotions or release, because it just seems like there's big endings. And, you know, even if it's a good thing that things are ending, it can still feel overwhelming and sad, you know? So this is about giving yourself grace and reminding yourself how far you've come, and just knowing that this is just a moment in time. This is not forever. You know, nothing's actually permanent. Nothing. So just keep that in mind. Let this emotion pass through you so it doesn't stay stagnant and it doesn't cause more harm with time. You know, this is a really great opportunity to do a final push, final release. And if you need to do it physically, I actually love both of these cards together too, because like the 10 of Wands is very like fiery, emotional, but then there's the stability of the 9 of Pentacles. And 9 of Pentacles is also associated with Venus and Virgo, and it is Virgo season. So this is a great energy to have. But 9 of Pentacles is a very abundant energy. It's like saying that you have the resources you need for yourself and you've built that for yourself. This is a solitude card. 9s are of solitude usually. So this is about the wealth and prosperity that you have just lying dormant within yourself at any time, that you have access to at any time. Because sometimes we might feel under-resourced in certain ways, but we actually have enough resources. It's just that we might not be tapping into all that we have because maybe a scarcity mindset we have or whatever reason. But this card, this 9 of Pentacles, is so beautiful too. It's honestly kind of giving me hedonist vibes. So like really enjoying what you have, and also being open to listen. This is a big lesson. This is the big message that Spirit wants me to share. I feel it. They're saying that we need to, well, now I am losing it, but like we need to just appreciate what we have, like gratitude and what was wow. The biggest message, just maybe that's not the biggest message. Maybe Spirit was like, no, you're wrong, Bren. But yeah, 9 of Pentacles is just very much like doing what you need to do to keep your peace and keep your health safe and like take care of your body. Because another thing about Virgo season, Virgos rule the stomach and the immune system in a lot of ways. So it's your health. Are your habits worth the outcome of your habits, you know? So if you're doing the same thing over and over again, say, you know, you like to have a drink after work, like, you know, one drink after work's not that big of a deal, but maybe over time, you know, it's adding to your caloric intake. And then, you know, if you're drinking one glass a day for several years, maybe it's also a money thing. It's like, oh, I'm spending, like, I didn't realize I was spending $2,000 on wine alone every year, you know, or every month. I don't know what your I don't know what your drinking habits are, if you even have them. But it's just kind of like you're kind of realizing that there's a compounding energy of your actions at this time. So just remember that, like, whatever you invest in now, it builds up over time and can have great rewards later. It's never too late to start something, you know? So, well, I never say never. Spirit's like, be careful with your words, such whatever. But it's often not too late to start something. Like, some people say, like, oh my gosh, I'm like 60 years old and I've always wanted to play the piano, but it's just too late for me. It's like, why not do it? You can do it. You can. And if you start at 60, by 70, you might be really good, you know, because that's still a whole decade that you have. If you show up every day committing to yourself in a certain way, you're going to have results at some point, like very tangible results over time. You know, time is something we can't really escape from. So how are you using it best? And this is a very Saturnian lesson too. So just keep in mind that, you know, if you're smoking a lot, if you're drinking, if you're doing things that are not, or even eating junk food or not eating whatever, those things are going to compound and you will pay the consequences of that at some point. If you're listening to this video, Spirit wants to tell you, like, there are consequences to your actions, even if you're not feeling it immediately right now, or if it's mild right now. Like, things, like, Spirit has a way of making things really loud over time if we're not getting it, you know? But it's up to us to realize that's what Spirit's telling us, you know? If, like, your body's aching in the middle of the day because you're sitting in a chair all day, it's like, Spirit's telling you, you need to get up and stretch. You need to do something else. You know, your body is telling you, like, and your body does keep the score. So just know that as we move through this emotional time, we want to really just respect our bodies, let it do what it needs to do. Pisces is also the sign of escapism. So you might be more called to engage in some activities that are more escapist in nature. Again, like, that's why probably alcohol, drugs is coming up a lot. But also scrolling and, like, just numbing out is very Piscean, very much like not dealing with reality, just wanting to escape into the dream fantasy of what life could be instead of what it actually is sometimes. So just now's a really great time. Again, like, the theme of this full moon is balance, spirituality, and practicality. Like, we can't be too practical or else we're not going to get that soul fulfillment that we need. But also, if we're living in a fantasy land all the time, we're not going to be living our tangible dreams in this reality. So we want to be a participants on this earth while we're here, you know? So with that all said, just the final wrap up for everything, like, just take care of yourself. Like, I feel like maybe some of the messages came out a little harsh, and I think that was intentional by Spirit for sure. But, just now's a really great time to be fucking for real with yourself. You got to really take care. And don't let people take advantage of your kindness. Don't take advantage of other people's kindness, because I will tell you, life has a way of correcting the karmic scales. It's often in a way that us humans don't really understand or can really grasp, because things often seem unfair, and perhaps they are. But I really do believe, like, in the grand scheme of things, and things will get balanced out at some point, even if it's not in this lifetime. But you don't want to accumulate any karma that might cause you issues down the line, you know? So just live with integrity. As long as you're doing your best, you're doing great, you know? Don't be too hard on yourself. And also just make sure you're taking care of yourself. And that sometimes requires boundaries with other people and boundaries with yourself as well, with certain behaviors or habits that you have. So if you benefited from that reading and you want to have more from me, you can definitely book a personal reading with me through fortuneofthefool.com. I'm located in Denver, Colorado. If you want something in person, I do something weekly. And if you want something virtual, we can discuss it. I sometimes do virtuals, sometimes not, but we'll see. If you really are wanting it, I'm always happy to help the right clients. I always tell Spirit, I'm like, I'm going to attract the right people to come to me, and I repel the rest. And I just have to trust that no matter what, everything's working out. And I gotta just surrender to the divine. So yeah, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Please also check out my website for more personal events. And I do a lot of workshops and things like that to try to make these tools accessible to more people, because tapping into your own inner spirituality is so important. Trusting your own intuition, even if you don't identify as a spiritual person, like trusting your own intuition is essential for any human being. My hot take. So my classes and workshops and just my readings in general are designed to empower you and make you feel good about yourself and make you feel like you can make the best decisions for yourself on a day-to-day basis to create the life that you desire. So if that interests you, hit me up. All right, bye y'all, stay foolish.